Hey guys, this is Jack with Team Empire, and I'm going to try something new today. I'm going to talk about the new ride line, just give like my first thoughts on the new Granfear ride line that was revealed today. This is for Stoicheia, and I think it's pretty interesting just looking at it for the first time. It revolves around plant tokens and a new type of gimmick with plant tokens, so it makes it different from Roa. So I'm going to talk about it, give you my first thoughts, maybe talk about some different combos and stuff you can do with the deck. It's going to be a relatively short video. So we have the grade 0, nothing special here, it's just the grade 0. It's fine, but you don't need it because the grade 1 doesn't need the grade 0, so you can use anything here. Next up is Lord in the Future, Granfear, who says, auto, when this unit is rode upon by a Savvy Wolf Granfear, you may call a plant token in the rearguard circle. Plant tokens grade 0, 5k power, critical 1 with boost. That's okay. I actually think it's a little bit worse than the Roa grade 1, because the Roa grade 1, it gives you the plant token immediately, while this one is a little slower. It gives it to you when you're on grade 2. So it's up to you which one you want to do, if you want to like call a plant token later, or with the Roa ride line, call a plant token earlier. Then we have the grade 2, which is Savvy Wolf Granfear. This is continuous in Vanguard circle. If there is a plant token on your rearguard and there is a Lord in the Future Granfear in your soul, when you would ride a grade 3 card with Granfear and its card name from your ride deck, you may ride without discarding a card from your hand. Now this one's actually pretty cool because I'm a fan of grade 2s in the ride deck that actually allow you to not discard, which is pretty nice. It allows you to save on hand. It's pretty good. It's nothing I would call special. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if I see people play like the Order ride line, the Zorga one, or the Roa one, since that one lets you call 2 plant tokens, which plays into Granfear's main gimmick. Now we'll finally talk about the grade 3, which is Lavian Lord Granfear. So he says he has 2 skills. His first skill is Act Vanguard Circle once per turn, cost Soul Blast 1, and turn all your plant tokens on rearguard circles into plant gauges. Then you call a Noblesse Rose token to your center back row rearguard circle and put all your plant gauges into that unit. So a Noblesse plant token, we'll talk about that in a second. It's basically grade 0 that like gets a bunch of power depending on the number of gauges that are on it. And its second ability is Auto Vanguard Circle. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked, cost, put 1 or more plant gauges or Noblesse Rose token up to 5 cards into your drop to choose one of your rearguards, and it gets 5k power until end of turn for each card put into drop by this cost. If 3 or more cards were put into the drop this way, you stand this unit. Or stand that unit, sorry. It's pretty good. It turns any of your rearguards into a restander and gives them a lot of power. So if you stack like 5, if say you get rid of 5 of these gauges, then you stand a rearguard, that rearguard's getting 25k power for free. And this one actually doesn't care if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater. There's no kind of restrictions here, which is pretty nice because then you can stand a rearguard and give it a whole bunch of power. Even if you just drop 3, that's 15k. And because these are plant tokens, it's not like you're really using a lot of resources in order to get it. The only problem I see with this is that obviously you need cards that give you plant tokens, and he doesn't actually generate any plant tokens himself. But that should be okay since there's a bunch of cards in the nation right now that generate plant tokens. There's Salvia, the girl from set 5. When she's placed, your Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, you call a plant token. Or there's the double rare from set 5 that when placed counterblast 1 to call 2 plant tokens. So that could be pretty good. That could be pretty nice. One thing I also like about this ride line so far is that it doesn't actually use any resources besides Soul. So everything else is completely counterblast free. So you can really open up the space for a lot of cool techs like Diantha, some interesting orders like the regurgitation from the underworld. I think it's going to be pretty nice in this deck for like getting that revive while also retiring an opponent's rearguard, which is very important. And what's even better about a card like this or a ride line like this is the flexibility. You can put Inlet Pulse in the deck since you can restand, get 4 attacks. So you can put in Soul, draw some cards. Or one thing I thought of was putting in Roaming Prison Dragon. because one of the things for Prison Dragon putting him in other decks is that he's not going to be that strong. You can either choose to give him the crit or the 10k power. Most people are going to choose to give him the 10k power, but with this deck, I actually think you can give him the crit, because you can like put a booster behind him, and when you restand him, you can put him like 25k power, making him a 30k with 2 crit. It might not be that good, it may require some testing, but I think that can be really cool. And now with that, let's talk about the support cards and the Noblesse Rose tokens. We have 3 other cards. First is the Noblesse Rose token, who says has an ability which is continuous on rearguard circle. This unit cannot be moved to other circles, and if you have a Vanguard with Granfear in its card name, it gets the following abilities below. When your plant token will be placed in rearguard circle, you turn it into a plant gauge instead. That's pretty good because there's an order card in this set that counterblasts 1 to call 2 plant tokens. So when you use that while this token's on the board, it actually just creates 2 more gauges for it. And its other ability is it gets 5k power for each one of its gauges. So if you have 5 gauges underneath this, when you boost it with Granfear, it's gonna be a 30k booster, meaning that Granfear is gonna be 43, which is pretty freaking big for a Vanguard attack. And it has another effect: when you retire your rearguard for the cost of your ability, if you retire plant tokens, you can remove plant gauges from this unit instead. So far, there's nothing that actually retires plant tokens in this deck. So there probably will be some card, maybe in set 10 or a promo, that will allow you to retire your rearguards for some insane effect. Overall, you have to play as if you're playing Granfear, since he calls it. She's pretty good. Like it seems really strong. So glad to see that this is like pretty interesting. It's kind of like Tachikaze mixed with Neo Nectar. And next up we have a double rare, which is Lan Lan Orangerine, which says auto when this is placed in a rearguard circle, you may call up to 1 plant token to rearguard circle. That's great. That's amazing, because it's good in this deck and it's good in Roa, because then it creates more fodder for you to retire with your Momoke tokens. And then has another effect: auto front row rearguard circle. At the start of your battle phase, if you have a Vanguard with Granfear in its card name, you may call a plant token to rearguard, which won't matter for the board, because then it just creates an extra 5k power for your Noblesse Rose token, which is really strong. I think that's pretty freaking cool. And then next card we have is Whole Mushroom, which is a 6k grade 1 that says act rearguard circle, cost, put this unit into your soul, call up to 2 plant tokens to rearguard. Then if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Granfear in its card name, choose one of your rearguards and it gets 5k power until end of turn. This is also really good. Obviously for Granfear it's good, since you can stack the power on one of your rearguards that you're going to restand with Granfear's ability. But even then, for like something like Roa, not only does it give you soul, but it also calls plant tokens to rearguard circle, which can be eaten with Momoke. So I knew this was going to happen when it was announced that Granfear would use plant tokens. They would have like good cross synergy with something like Roa, but I wasn't expecting something this good for the decks. This is great. Like this seems like a really fun deck. And again, none of these cards use resources. In fact, these cards give you resources. So the amount of splash ability that Granfear is going to have with a bunch of different playstyles is going to be really freaking sweet. I can't wait to see how this deck actually plays out. I'm definitely going to be doing some testing later on to see like how strong this deck is, and if it'll compete with the big boys in the metagame. Probably not its first wave, but it does seem very strong and very fun. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm hoping to do more of these when like more ride lines are revealed, just like for initial first thoughts, because I feel like that would be fun. It would increase engagement. Let me know what y'all think about these cards. Anyway, take care guys. Hope you have a great day. Bye.